Good morning. Good morning. Glad to have you here, everybody. I'm Jenny Anchondo. Okay, Alberto Romero is in this morning, and I see, okay, we've dropped down a little bit from 70 to 64 degrees, but it's still really warm out. Today, for the first time since her funeral, we will hear from the family of a 12-year-old girl who was killed in a gas explosion. The family of Linda Michelita Rogers set up a news conference for this afternoon, but at this point, it's really not clear what they're preparing to discuss or announce. Meantime, Atmos Energy workers who have been working nonstop to change out gas line pipes in the Northwest Dallas neighborhood will be back on site this morning. Fox 4's Lynn and Wynn has more from the people who are dealing with the upgrades. Atmos Energy is asking people who live in the affected neighborhood to continue to check the new outage map on their website to see if their home's gas service is back on. They also say they're going to continue to keep information centers set up at the Walnut Hill and Bachman recreation centers. Sheriff's deputies are trying to figure out if a driver was going the wrong way in a fiery crash that closed I-35 overnight in Dallas. It happened in the northbound lanes near the Royal Lane exit. The two people in the Suburban were treated at the scene for minor injuries and no one else was hurt. Dallas police are not filing any charges against the person who fired a gun into an apartment. So this is the one that just happened around 3 o'clock yesterday morning at the complex on Ross Avenue near Hall Street in Old East Dallas. Police said because it was an accident and no one was hurt, the gun owner is not facing any charges. Prosecutors are saying a man convicted of helping torture a murder victim 2 years ago should be sentenced to life in prison. The penalty phase in the case against 40-year-old Ricky Moreno begins tomorrow. A Dallas County jury convicted Moreno Friday of aggravated kidnapping in the death of 28-year-old Jonathan Paul Gutierrez. Prosecutors say Martin Amaro Jr. is accused of orchestrating the attack. He's awaiting trial on several charges, including capital murder. Former U.S. Senate candidate Roy Moore is asking for some donations to help pay his lawyers in the legal battle against a woman who says that he molested her when she was 14. In a Facebook post, Moore said his resources have been depleted. So the link indicated that he's raised about $32,000 of the $250,000 that was needed. Moore denied the allegations made by Lake Korfman. This was just one of the many accusations that played a role in Moore's loss in December to Democratic Senator Doug Jones of Alabama. After a brief trip to Florida, it is back to business in D.C. for President Trump. Right now, he says he's focused on imposing steep tariffs on steel and other imports, and that seems to be threatening some relationships with countries, several countries. Fox's Molly Hennenberg has reaction. An instrument that defined American music for generations is honored by a North Texas museum. That story is next on Good Day Sunday. A simple musical instrument finally gets the respect it deserves. Fox 4 Shannon Murray says the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History is honoring an American institution, the guitar. All right, Alberto, thank you. So this morning we are talking to a woman who is truly on a mission to empower young girls, and she wants to get your high schooler ready for the real world and the work world. So we welcome to Good Day Sunday the CEO of the nonprofit Step Up, Jenny Luke. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm really excited to hear about this topic. I've got a 9-month-old myself, and it's an interesting sort of age to be raising a girl, especially to enter the workforce. So first of all, let's talk about what Step Up is, because I know you are in some Dallas schools.
Right. So Step Up is...
And you do it through after-school programs.
We do after-school programs, and in Dallas we're...
So let's talk about some of these tips with regard to helping these girls truly become the next generation of leaders. So first of all, you say that we should help her reflect on her skills and strengths. Expand on that a little bit.
So I think ultimately young girls...
Interesting, because then you have something to peg that confidence to.
Exactly.
Like, this is my thing.
Right.
I'm doing well at this, and I will continue to do so.
Yep.
Also, you say practice the art of not apologizing. And Jenny, I have to tell you, this is something that adults can learn from as well. The art of not apologizing.
Absolutely.
Did you guys hear? I mean, that's so subtle. It's such
very
a subtle change, but it changes your presence in whatever situation you're in.
Yeah,
if you're the person apologizing just for being there.
Just for being. And we cannot keep doing that.
Okay, okay, that's a really good one. You also say, become comfortable saying no and yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really is about establishing boundaries.
And learning what you do actually want to do. Sometimes there's that question, all of a sudden you realize, do I even know what I want my life to be about?
Do I want to do it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Let's talk about boys, because I don't
Yeah.
want to focus only on girls, and I suspect that some of these tips and such can relate to them.
Right. So everything we've just talked about.
Very good. Excellent. Jenny, Luke, thank you for coming in. Thank you for the
Thank
work that you're doing here in Dallas. And I do want our parents to get some information if they want their girls to be involved. We'll link up your website on our website.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody, here's what's coming up on Good Day. Figuring out what you have to offer others could make you some real money. This in addition to your regular job. How are we going to do it? Steve Noviello sits down with a guest he calls one of his favorites for some tips. Excellent. Alberto, thank you, and thank you for working the weekend.
Oh, no problem.
Always appreciate that. So more news is on our website, fox4news.com. Family and friends are still waiting to hear about a man who is missing following a chemical plant explosion. That blast happened Thursday in the Hood County town of Crescent, southwest of Fort Worth. A trial date in the U.S. Justice Department's lawsuit to block AT&T's planned merger with Time Warner begins next week. This is a complicated case that may last for 8 weeks, much longer than previously forecast. Fox 4's Blake Hansen takes a look at how this trial could impact you. Mike Davis told Blake that the outcome of this trial goes far beyond impacting AT&T or Time Warner customers. If a judge strikes this merger down, it could impact several other proposed vertical mergers in other industries. We're talking about everything from pharmaceuticals to movies. Starting Monday, there will be 2 days of motions before hearing opening arguments on Wednesday. All right, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions fired former FBI Director Andrew McCabe just 2 days before he could retire and receive his benefits. The dismissal follows a review into the FBI's handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. McCabe believes he's being unfairly targeted by the Trump administration. The Federal Aviation Administration has ordered an immediate stop to all doors-off helicopter flights that attach passengers to the cabin with harnesses. Friday's directive comes just 5 days after a helicopter that carried 5 passengers capsized in New York City's East River. All of the passengers were killed, only the pilot was a survivor. A worker with the Florida Department of Transportation apparently never got the message about a possible defect in that pedestrian bridge that collapsed near Miami. The bridge collapse at Florida International University happened Thursday during a stress test. An engineer left a voicemail on Tuesday that says that some cracking has been found. The message was left on a landline, not a cell phone. 7:13 on your Saturday, St. Patrick's Day morning. There's your live look. Bank of America building, you know, it's usually in green, but today we're going to assume it's dressed up in green for St. Patrick's Day. You know, once again, a part of Dallas will be closed for a big St. Patrick's Day street party. Fox 4's Deion England live in the lower Greenville area ahead of all the chaos and the fun. Good morning, Deion.
Jen, back to you.
Yes, it's such a busy morning, Deion. Thank you. All right, Jen, so we've got the 8 o'clock run, the 11 o'clock parade, and so we're wondering, do people need to be on alert in terms of storms or severe weather? Good morning. Thanks for joining us to start your Saturday, everybody. I'm Jenny Anchondo. Before we talk about the news, let's check in with Jen. We've been hearing word of possible storms for some. The Texas Department of State Health Services is warning people not to eat some fish that's caught at Lake Worth. Lake Worth is a body of water northwest of Fort Worth. The agency says some of the fish in that lake have unsafe levels of dioxins and PCBs, which are industrial chemicals. That includes blue catfish, common carp, flathead catfish, freshwater drum, smallmouth buffalo, striped bass, and white bass. So for more information, you want to get the specifics, go to our website, fox4news.com, and go to the links section. The Dallas County Fire Marshal is cracking down on auto salvage businesses that are polluting groundwater in the Trinity River. The 12 businesses are in southern Dallas County. People who live along Dowdy Ferry Road have been complaining for years about pollution from the salvage yards and other safety issues. The fire marshal says he's shut down a number of businesses until they clean up.
There's several hundreds of cars down here.
Disgraced former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn campaigned for a Republican congressional candidate yesterday in California. This was his first public appearance since pleading guilty to lying to the FBI last year. He endorsed Omar Navarro in his challenge of 14-term Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters. 23 British diplomats are being expelled from Russia. They have to be out of the country by the end of next week. The Russian government also ordered the closure of the British consul, and that ends an agreement that was supposed to lead to the reopening of the British consulate in St. Petersburg. The moves were in retaliation for Great Britain's decision to expel 23 Russian diplomats over the poisoning of a former Russian spy and his daughter. 7:37 right now. The Statler Hotel in downtown Dallas has a new honor that looks back at the hotel's long history. Oh, and what a fun morning. In just a few hours, floats will be rolling down Greenville Avenue as a part of the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dallas. One of the best parts about being up early on a weekend is getting to catch a gorgeous sunrise like this. It's 7:40 a.m. and there's your live look from the downtown Dallas area as we wake you up on this St. Patrick's Day morning. You know, the barricades are up and starting to, be there for the crowds that will be lining the streets along Greenville Avenue for the 39th annual Dallas St. Patrick's Day Parade and Festival. Fox 4's Dion England, well, she is in the mix of it all with a preview of the events. Good morning, Dion. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Dion, everyone's waiting for your green tutu and leprechaun ears, so we'll check back in later to see if you have all the gear.
I'll go in search of it.
Okay, thanks, Dion. All right, big celebration on March 17th for Rob Lowe.
Parks and Rec.
Yes, the West Wing, also in St. Elmo's Fire.
Wasn't he in Tommy Boy?
Ooh, good question. Okay.
He was.
I think that he's one of those that looks unusually good for his age. I'm gonna guess he's 56.
52.
Oh, okay, well, at least we're in the right decade. He is 54. From Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh, John Boyega.
Okay, you go first. I have no idea on his age.
One of the best additions to Star Wars in years. He's young. He's like 26.
Oh, okay, so I'll go off of yours and guess 25. Nice work, Jen. You
Who
don't.
knows for Star Wars?
I mean,
it's Jen Myers, that's who.
Anything Star Wars trivia related, Jen's gonna get. Okay, from pickle parades to egg extravaganzas, there's of course plenty to do around town this weekend. Here's Leanne and Jeremy from Star 102.1 with some of the hottest options for the weekend.